Picture this. You're in Auckland Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
You're on a ship.
Yeah.
It's a birthday celebration.
Okay.
It's late at night. Everyone's having a good time. And then all of a sudden, boom,
Sure.
there's this massive explosion that just rips through the hull of the ship.
Oh, wow.
This is exactly what happened in 1985
Okay.
to the Rainbow Warrior,
Right.
the flagship of Greenpeace.
Oh.
But this was no accident.
Oh, really? What
And
happened?
this was an act of sabotage
Oh, wow.
that tragically resulted in the death of a photographer named Fernando Pereira.
Jeez.
And get this,
Yeah.
this is all orchestrated by the French government.
Wow, the French government. What would lead them to do such a thing?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into today.
Okay.
In this deep dive, we're going to be talking about the chilling story of the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior.
Okay.
This is a story of international intrigue,
Right.
environmental activism clashing with national interests,
Uh-huh.
and a cover-up that ultimately unraveled on the world stage.
I'm intrigued.
We're basing our exploration on a History Daily podcast episode.
Okay, cool.
So buckle up.
Yep.
I think a lot of our listeners are probably familiar with Greenpeace, but
Yeah.
for those who aren't, could you give us a little background on the organization and what the Rainbow Warrior represented?
Sure. Greenpeace is an international environmental organization,
Yeah.
and they're known for these like really direct action campaigns.
Yeah.
They've been on the front lines of protests against nuclear testing, whaling deforestation,
Right.
pretty much anything that they think is harming the environment.
Yeah.
And the Rainbow Warrior was their flagship, so to speak. It
Yeah.
was like this symbol of their commitment to protecting the planet.
And this wasn't even the first time that the Rainbow Warrior had encountered trouble.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they actually had a history of confronting these like really powerful entities.
Into a
But- So in the years leading up to the sinking,
Mm-hmm.
the ship had been confiscated by the Spanish Navy
Wow.
and even boarded by Soviet forces.
Yep.
So they were making some pretty serious enemies, I'd say.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I mean, they were peaceful in their actions, but I guess it was seen as a direct challenge to the interests of governments and corporations.
Yeah. I can see that.
So what was it about the Rainbow Warrior being in New Zealand in 1985
Yeah.
that specifically angered the French government?
Well, at the time, France was conducting nuclear tests in the Pacific,
Right.
and the international community and environmental groups like Greenpeace, they weren't happy about it.
No, of course not.
And the Rainbow Warrior, well, it was Auckland at the time,
Okay.
but it was preparing to lead a flotilla of ships to Mururoa Atoll,
Okay.
which was the site of these French nuclear tests,
Right.
and they were going to try to disrupt them.
So the French saw this as a direct threat to their national interests, and they decided to take some pretty drastic measures.
Yeah.
They launched a covert operation.
What was it called?
It was codenamed Operation Satanique,
Operation Satanique. Okay.
and the goal was to sabotage the Rainbow Warrior.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, this operation was planned and executed by the DGSE,
Okay.
which is essentially the French equivalent of like the CIA or something.
Right, right.
And their goal, as I said, was to disable the Rainbow Warrior and prevent it from reaching Mururoa Atoll.
I see, to disable it. Okay.
And to carry out this mission, they sent 2 undercover agents.
Oh, wow.
Their names were Elaine Maffart and Dominique Pryor.
Okay.
They were posing as a honeymooning couple.
Interesting. A honeymooning couple.
Yeah, they were sent to New Zealand.
What exactly were they doing there? What were their roles?
They were essentially advanced scouts.
Okay.
They arrived in Auckland weeks before the attack.
Uh-huh.
They rented a van,
Okay.
and then they began surveilling the harbor, gathering intelligence on the Rainbow Warriors' movements and layout.
So they were like casing the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they also played a key role in acquiring and transporting the explosives that were used in the attack.
So they were pretty deeply involved then.
Yeah, they were more than just your average tourists.
Right.
Right. So let's talk about the attack itself.
Okay.
The History Daily episode details 2 explosions.
Okay.
Can you walk us through what happened that night?
Sure. The first explosion happened around midnight,
Okay.
and it ripped a hole in the engine room,
Oh,
causing significant flooding.
jeez.
And most of the crew was asleep at the time.
Right.
Of course, the explosion jolted them awake.
And this is where Fernando Pereira's story takes a tragic turn.
Yeah.
He was a photographer,
Okay.
and he rushed back into the sinking ship to retrieve his camera equipment.
Oh, no.
And while he was below deck, a second, more powerful explosion occurred.
Oh, jeez.
This caused even more catastrophic damage and knocked him unconscious.
He was trapped.
He was trapped, and the ship sank rapidly.
Oh, no.
And Pereira, unable to escape, drowned in his cabin.
That's awful.
It's just heartbreaking. And this raises the question, was Pereira's death intentional? Did the French agents plan to kill someone that night?
Well, that's a point of much debate. The official French position has always been that the operation was only meant to disable the ship,
Right.
not to cause any casualties.
Mm-hmm.
But given the placement and the power of that second explosive, a lot of people believe that at least some level of lethal force was intended.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine that they wouldn't have considered the possibility of someone being onboarded, especially given the timing of that second explosion.
Right, exactly. It's difficult to reconcile their claim of non-lethal intent with the outcome, and this discrepancy would become a major point of contention as the investigation unfolded.
So let's talk about that investigation.
Okay.
What happened in the immediate aftermath of the sinking? How did the New Zealand authorities respond?
Well, initially there was a lot of confusion.
I bet.
Was it an accident?
Yeah.
A mechanical failure?
Right.
But the police started their investigation and quickly realized this was no accident.
What were some of the clues that led them to believe that this was deliberate?
Well, for one, divers discovered that the damage to the hull was consistent with explosives, not a collision or internal malfunction.
Right.
And then there was the matter of the rental van used by the French agents.
Oh, right. Their so-called honeymoon vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
What role did that play in the investigation?
Well, it turned out they weren't as careful as they thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
Witnesses placed them near the harbor in the days leading up to the attack,
Okay.
and their rental agreement provided a direct link to them.
So the police were starting to connect the dots.
Yeah.
Did the French agents attempt to flee New Zealand once they realized they were suspects?
They did. They tried to leave the country, but the police were already on their trail.
Oh, wow.
They were apprehended at a hotel just outside of Auckland
Okay.
and taken into custody for questioning.
What was the French government's response when news of the agents' arrest broke?
Well, initially, they denied any involvement whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they claimed the agents were just tourists and that any suggestion of French involvement was absurd.
Of course.
But the evidence was mounting,
Right.
and the New Zealand authorities weren't backing down.
No,
This was turning into a major international incident.
absolutely.
So how did New Zealand continue to build their case against the French agents?
Well, that's what we're going to get into next time on part 2 of our deep dive into the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior.
And I can't wait.
So make sure to tune back
Yeah,
in.
definitely.
Yeah.
So the New Zealand police, they were really meticulous in their investigation.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They did like a thorough forensic analysis of the whole wreckage,
Right.
interviewed a bunch of witnesses,
Uh-huh.
painstakingly pieced together the movements of the French agents
Wow.
in the days leading up to the attack.
It sounds like they were determined to leave no stone unturned.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This wasn't just a simple case of vandalism. It was an act of aggression against their country on their own soil
Right.
that resulted in the death of a citizen.
Ex-
What were some of the key pieces of evidence that ultimately led to the French admitting guilt?
Well, one of the most damning pieces of evidence was a diver's logbook,
Okay.
recovered from the agent's belongings.
Oh, wow.
It detailed the underwater sabotage operation,
Hmm.
including the types of explosives used and the placement of the charges on the Rainbow Warrior's hull.
Wow, so this directly linked the agents to the attack.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
It contradicted the French government's claims of innocence.
Yeah, they couldn't really deny it after that.
So the truth was starting to come out. This wasn't just some rogue operation by a couple of agents.
Yeah.
This was a planned and coordinated attack,
Yeah,
sanctioned at the highest levels of the French government.
it had to be.
And the New Zealand government wasn't going to let France sweep this under the rug.
No, I can imagine.
They applied diplomatic pressure, demanding a full explanation and accountability for the attack.
Right.
So what was the reaction from the international community? Did other countries rally behind New Zealand?
Well, yeah, the international response was pretty swift and overwhelmingly in support of New Zealand.
Okay.
Many countries condemned France's actions,
Right.
calling for a thorough investigation and appropriate consequences.
And this incident, I mean, it really strained France's relationships with a lot of its allies.
Yeah, particularly in the Pacific region.
Yeah.
So France was facing some intense scrutiny
Yeah.
and condemnation on the world stage.
Yeah.
So how did they respond to all this pressure?
Well, faced with this irrefutable evidence
Right.
and this mounting diplomatic pressure,
Yeah.
the French government finally admitted.
They admitted.
They admitted their involvement in the attack.
Wow.
However, they still maintained that the operation wasn't intended to be lethal
Really?
and that Pereira's death was just an unintended consequence.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that explanation didn't really hold water, did it?
Not really,
I
no.
mean, planting bombs on a ship in the middle of the night, it just carries an inherent risk to human life.
Exactly, and a lot of people, including the New Zealand government, saw the French explanation as kind of a feeble attempt to just downplay the severity of their
Yeah,
actions.
I could see that.
They argued that France should be held accountable not only for the sabotage,
Right.
but also for the cover-up and the loss of life.
So what happened to the agents Maffart and Prieur?
Okay.
Were they put on trial?
Well, they were initially charged with murder,
Oh, wow.
but those charges were later reduced
To what?
to manslaughter and arson,
Okay.
and this was all part of a controversial plea bargain.
A plea bargain.
Yeah, negotiated between France and New Zealand.
Interested. What were the terms of that agreement and why was it so controversial?
Well, the plea bargain said that the agents would plead guilty to the lesser charges
Okay.
and serve a 10-year prison sentence on a French military base in the Pacific.
Wow, so they weren't even going to serve time in a New Zealand prison.
No, and that was a major point of contention for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like a slap on the wrist.
It does.
Considering the gravity of their actions?
Yeah, a lot of people felt that way.
So what was the reaction in New Zealand to this perceived injustice?
Well, the public outcry was immense.
I bet.
A lot of New Zealanders felt betrayed by their own government.
Right.
They were outraged that the French agents were basically escaping serious punishment.
Understandably.
And this whole incident really strained relations between France and New Zealand for years.
It makes sense. So beyond this immediate political fallout and the trial of the agents,
Mm-hmm.
what were the long-term consequences of the Rainbow Warrior sinking?
Okay.
Did it have a lasting impact on Greenpeace?
Yeah, definitely. The sinking of the Rainbow Warrior was a devastating blow,
Of course.
both emotionally and logistically.
Yeah.
But instead of silencing them, it actually kind of galvanized their movement.
Really?
The global outrage sparked by the attack brought more attention to Greenpeace,
Uh-huh.
and their mission
Okay.
attracted new supporters and boosted their fundraising efforts.
So in a way, the French government's attempt to sabotage Greenpeace actually backfired.
Yeah, you could say that. The
Yeah.
sinking of the Rainbow Warrior became like a rallying cry for environmental activists all over the world,
Wow.
and it solidified Greenpeace's position as a leading force in the global environmental movement.
And it probably inspired countless individuals to join the fight for a more sustainable and peaceful world.
Exactly.
And what about the ship itself? Was the Rainbow Warrior replaced?
It was. A new Rainbow Warrior
Okay.
was launched in 1989,
Okay.
and it was built with contributions from people all over the world.
Wow.
And this new ship became a symbol of Greenpeace's resilience
Yeah.
and their determination to keep going,
Wow.
no matter the threats or violence.
Yeah, it's a really powerful symbol of hope.
It is.
Emerging from this tragic event, did the new Rainbow Warrior continue the legacy of its predecessor? Did it face similar threats?
Yeah, the new Rainbow Warrior kind of picked up the mantle. They continued to sail the seas. They confronted environmental destruction and advocated for a greener future.
Right.
And while they have faced opposition and challenges over the years,
Right.
thankfully there hasn't been another incident as brazen and violent as the sinking of the original Rainbow Warrior.
Well, let's hope it stays that way, tuning our attention back to France.
Yeah.
Did the Rainbow Warrior incident have any impact on their nuclear testing program?
It definitely damaged France's reputation on the world stage
Yeah.
and contributed to the growing international pressure against their nuclear testing program.
Okay.
And while they continued testing for several years after the attack, they eventually ceased nuclear testing in the Pacific in the mid-1990s.
Do you think the Rainbow Warrior incident played a role in that decision, or were there other factors at play?
Well, it's tough to say for certain, but the global condemnation that
Yeah.
France faced
Yeah.
definitely increased the political cost of continuing their program.
Oh, okay.
And it brought the whole issue of nuclear testing into the public spotlight, fueling that anti-nuclear sentiment around the world.
Yeah, it's a fascinating example of how a single event can have such far-reaching consequences,
It is.
impacting international relations, shifting public opinion, and ultimately contributing to significant policy changes.
Exactly.
It also really underscores the power of nonviolent resistance.
It does.
Greenpeace's actions, though controversial to some,
Uh-huh.
they really brought the issue of nuclear testing to the forefront of the global agenda.
They did.
It's a reminder that even a relatively small organization like Greenpeace,
Right.
armed with conviction and a commitment to nonviolent action
Yeah.
can challenge the actions of these powerful governments and affect real change.
Absolutely, and it highlights the importance of holding governments accountable for their actions,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when those actions violate international law or human rights.
We've talked a lot about the global impact of the Rainbow Warrior sinking,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about its impact on New Zealand specifically. How did this event shape their national identity and their place in the world?
Well, the Rainbow Warrior sinking was a defining moment for New Zealand.
I can imagine.
It really reinforced their commitment to pacifism,
Right?
their opposition to nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
and their dedication to environmental protection.
They already had a reputation for being a peace-loving nation, but this really solidified that image on the world stage.
Exactly. New Zealand refused to be bullied by a superpower like France.
Yeah.
They stood up for what they believed in,
Mhm.
demanding justice for the violation of their sovereignty and the death of one of their citizens.
It's almost like a David and Goliath story, isn't it?
Is.
This small nation standing up to a global power in the name of principle.
Yeah, and it resonated with a lot of people around the world
Of course.
who admired New Zealand's courage
Yeah.
and their unwavering commitment to their values.
So the Rainbow Warrior sinking had a huge impact on New Zealand, both domestically and in terms of their international relations. It shaped their identity, strengthened their resolve,
Mhm.
and highlighted their commitment to peace and justice.
Yeah, and it really highlighted their independence on the world stage.
Okay.
This incident, along with their strong anti-nuclear stance,
Right.
demonstrated that New Zealand was willing to chart their own course,
Uh-huh.
even if it meant diverging from the policies of traditional allies.
Like France and the U.S.
Exactly.
It's a testament to their conviction and their belief in the importance of adhering to their principles, even when it's hard.
Is.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
exploring the immediate aftermath of the sinking, the global and political repercussions, and the lasting legacy.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I think it's important to acknowledge the human cost of this event.
Absolutely. While the Rainbow Warrior sinking had significant geopolitical implications,
Right.
at its heart, it was a tragedy that resulted in the loss of a life.
Yeah.
And Fernando Pereira's death was a stark reminder that political decisions, especially those made in secret,
Right.
can have devastating and irreversible consequences for individuals.
And his story really is a reminder that behind the headlines
Yeah.
and the political maneuvering,
Mm-hmm.
there are real people whose lives are forever altered by these events.
It's crucial to remember that,
Yeah.
the pursuit of national interests or strategic objectives should never come at the expense of human life.
Right.
Or disregard for international law.
Well said. The Rainbow Warrior sinking was a complex event with far-reaching consequences.
It was.
It's a story about the clash between environmental activism and state power,
Yeah.
the limits of acceptable conduct in international relations,
Mhm.
and the enduring power of nonviolent resistance.
Exactly. And it raises important ethical questions about the use of force,
Okay?
the responsibility of individuals who carry out orders that violate international law,
Mm-hmm.
and the complex relationship between national security and individual rights.
These are questions that we continue to grapple with today as we face similar challenges in a world where environmental concerns,
Right.
state power,
Mm-hmm.
and individual liberties are often at odds.
Yeah, the Rainbow Warrior sinking may be a historical event, but its lessons are timeless and remain relevant in our ever-evolving world.
So we've been talking about this really complex event,
Yeah.
the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior,
Heck
this
yeah.
event that really shook the world
Yeah.
and showed just how far governments will go to protect their interests.
It really did.
It's a story that I think we can all learn from even today.
Definitely.
It raises all these questions about,
Yeah.
state power,
Mm.
accountability,
Right.
the role of individuals
Yeah.
in challenging injustice.
Mhm.
But before we wrap up, I want to talk about the people
Okay.
who were caught in the middle of this international incident.
Yeah, it's important to remember that behind all the political stuff,
Right.
the fallout, there were real people
Yeah.
whose lives were changed forever because of this.
The families of those on board,
Yeah.
especially the family of Fernando Pereira.
Yeah.
I mean, they endured such unimaginable grief and trauma.
They did.
They were thrust into the global spotlight,
Right.
forced to deal with not only the personal tragedy of losing someone they loved,
Yeah.
but also having to navigate this complex international legal battle
Absolutely.
and this media frenzy.
It's a lot.
How did they cope with this sudden and profound loss?
Well, Fernando Pereira's family in particular showed remarkable resilience.
Yeah.
They channeled their grief into this tireless pursuit of accountability.
I can imagine.
They demanded a full investigation,
Right.
a fair trial for those responsible,
Ah, yeah.
and adequate compensation for their loss.
It sounds like their determination really played a significant role in keeping the pressure on
Oh, yeah.
both the French and New Zealand governments
Mhm.
to make sure that justice was served.
It did.
It's a real testament to their courage and their commitment to honoring Fernando's memory. I think their story reminds us that even amidst such tragedy,
Yeah,
there's strength in unity,
absolutely.
in fighting for what's right,
Uh-huh.
and in holding those in power accountable.
I completely agree.
Their story also underscores the importance of empathy and understanding in these situations.
Yeah,
It's easy to get caught up in all the political intrigue
Right.
and the legal battles,
the headline.
but we should never forget the human cost of these events.
Right, exactly.
The families of those affected deserve our compassion and our support.
I agree.
The Rainbow Warrior sinking really serves as this stark reminder
Yeah,
that actions have consequences,
they do.
and sometimes those consequences are unintended and tragic.
And it underscores the need for transparency and accountability in government actions.
Especially those carried out in secret.
Absolutely. And I think it also highlights the vital role of a free and independent press
Okay.
in holding power to account.
Yeah, I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
It was the investigative journalism of a French newspaper,
Which one?
Le Monde,
Okay.
that exposed the truth
Oh, wow.
about the French government's involvement
Right.
and forced them to acknowledge their actions.
Wow, that's amazing.
A free press is essential
It is.
for a functioning democracy.
Yes.
It acts as a watchdog,
Mhm.
exposing corruption,
Right.
holding those in power accountable to the people they're supposed to serve.
Absolutely. That's something we should never take for granted.
No, we shouldn't.
The Rainbow Warrior incident shows how easily secrecy can be used to shield wrongdoing,
Right.
and how important it is to have institutions and individuals who are willing to challenge those in power
Yeah.
and speak truth to authority.
Well said. This incident also serves as a really powerful testament to the effectiveness of nonviolent resistance.
It does.
I mean, Greenpeace, despite facing significant risks,
Of course.
ultimately suffering a tragic loss,
Yeah.
they succeeded in bringing the issue of nuclear testing to the forefront of the global stage.
They did. Their actions, they might have been controversial to some, but they started a worldwide debate
About?
about the environmental and humanitarian consequences of nuclear testing.
Right.
And it really galvanized the anti-nuclear movement.
Okay.
It energized environmental activism
Yeah.
and contributed to a growing international consensus against nuclear proliferation.
That's incredible. It's a reminder that even when facing these seemingly impossible odds,
Yeah,
individuals and organizations committed to nonviolent action can make a difference.
we can.
They can challenge the status quo,
Yeah.
and they can inspire change.
Absolutely. The legacy of the Rainbow Warrior lives on,
Yeah.
not only in the continued work of Greenpeace,
Uh-huh.
but also in the countless individuals and organizations around the world who are fighting for a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future.
It's a legacy of courage, conviction, and a belief in the power of collective action to create a better world.
It is.
And it's a reminder that each of us has a role to play in protecting our planet,
Yeah,
upholding human rights, and holding those in power accountable for their actions.
well said.
And with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior.
It's been a fascinating discussion.
It has. We hope this exploration has been insightful, thought-provoking, and maybe even a call to action for some of you listening.
I hope so.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.